Good day. Today I will be discussing the endocrine system, which is responsible for producing and regulating hormones in the body. The endocrine system is made up of glands and organs that secrete hormones directly into the bloodstream. These hormones act as chemical messengers that control many body processes such as growth, metabolism, reproduction, and homeostasis. Let's begin with the glands located in the brain. First is the hypothalamus. This structure plays a key role in maintaining homeostasis, including regulating body temperature, hunger, thirst, and hormone release. It also serves as a link between the nervous system and the endocrine system. Next is the pituitary gland, often called the master gland. It controls many other endocrine glands by releasing hormones that regulate growth, reproduction, and other vital functions. The pineal gland is also found in the brain. It produces melatonin, a hormone that regulates the sleep-wake cycle. Moving down the neck region, we have the thyroid gland. This gland produces hormones such as thyroxine that regulates the body's metabolism, energy production, and growth. Located behind the thyroid are the parathyroid. These small glands help regulate calcium levels in the blood, which is essential for proper muscle and nerve function. In the chest area, we find the thymus or the thymus gland. This gland is important for the development of the immune system, particularly in the maturation of T cells during childhood. Next are the glands of the abdominal region. We have the pancreas. The pancreas has both digestive and endocrine function, but in the endocrine system, it produces insulin and glucagon, which regulate blood sugar levels above the kidney, are what we call the adrenal glands. These glands produces hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol, which help the body respond to stress and regulate metabolism. Finally, we have the reproductive glands such as the gonads. In females, the ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone, which regulate the menstrual cycle and support reproductive health. While in males, the testes plural, produce testosterone, which is important for male reproductive development and secondary sexual characteristics. The endocrine system is a network of glands that regulates the body functions through what we call hormones. Each gland has a specific role, but altogether they work to maintain balance in the body. Shown here are the major endocrine glands, their hormones, and their functions in the body. Let's begin with the hypothalamus, which acts as the link between the nervous and the endocrine system. Four important hypothalamic releasing hormones are your TRH, CRH, GnRH, and the GHRH. These hormones are produced by the hypothalamus and act on the anterior pituitary gland to regulate hormone secretion. Let's begin with the TRH, or the thyrotropin releasing hormone. TRH stimulates the anterior pituitary to release TSH, which then acts on the thyroid gland to regulate the metabolism. Next is the CRH, or the corticotropin releasing hormone. The CRH triggers the release of ACTH from the anterior pituitary, which stimulates the adrenal cortex to produce cortisol, especially during stress. Third is the GnRH, or the gonadotropin releasing hormone. GnRH stimulates now the release of the FSH and LH, which acts on the gonads, the ovaries, and the testes, specifically, to regulate the reproduction. Lastly, we have the GHRH, or the growth hormone releasing hormone. GHRH promotes the secretion of growth hormone, or the GH, which support growth of bones and muscles. In summary, these hypothalamic hormones serves as key regulators that control pituitary function, ensuring proper coordination of the endocrine system. Going back, The hypothalamus produces now the TRH, CRH, GnRH, and the GHRH, the somatostatin and the dopamine, which primarily control the activity of the pituitary gland. Next is the pituitary gland, known as the master gland, divided into anterior and the posterior parts. The anterior pituitary secretes several hormones. The first one is what we call the growth hormone, or the GH, which promotes as growth for the bones and muscles. Then we have the thyroid stimulating hormone, or the TSH, which regulates the thyroid gland. The adrenocorticotropic hormone, or the ACTH, which stimulates the adrenal cortex to release cortisol. Follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone, or commonly what we call FSH or LH, which regulates reproductive function. Then you have the prolactin that stimulates milk production in the mammary gland upon pregnancy. Then we have the posterior pituitary that stores and releases hormones produced by the hypothalamus. The first among the hormones is what you call antidiuretic hormone, or the ADH, which acts on the kidney to regulate water balance, and oxytocin, which stimulates uterine contraction during labor and milk ejection during breastfeeding. Moving on to the thyroid gland, it produces T3 and T4, which regulates metabolism in most body cells. It also secretes calcitonin, which helps lower blood calcium levels. The parathyroid gland produces parathyroid hormone, or the PTH, which raises blood calcium level by acting on bones and kidneys. Next, the adrenal glands, which has two parts: the adrenal cortex that produces cortisol to stress response and aldosterone for salt and water balance, and the adrenal medulla, which secretes epinephrine and norepinephrine, responsible for the fight or flight response. The pancreas produces insulin, which lowers blood sugar, and glucagon that raises blood sugar, opposite to the action of the insulin. In the reproductive organs, the ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone that regulates female reproductive function and pregnancy. The testes produce testosterone that is responsible for male characteristics. Finally, the pineal gland secretes melatonin, which regulates the sleep-wake cycle, and the thymus that produces thymosin, important for T-cell development in the immune system. Now, to easily understand, the endocrine system coordinates body function through chemical messengers we call hormones that regulate growth, metabolism, reproduction, stress response, and homeostasis.